Okay, should you travel to Vietnam in 2026? Of course, I won't be able to answer this question because I don't even know who you are. But I will try to answer a related question, which is, should I travel to Vietnam this year? And the idea is that based on what I'm going to explain, you will be able to make this decision for yourself. By the way, for me, the answer is yes, absolutely. Direct flight from Munich to Hanoi is booked for next weekend, and so far it hasn't been cancelled. Okay, so what makes 2026 special, or should I say a little bit complicated? By the way, I'm currently in Hungary, which is completely unrelated with my travel to Vietnam. It's a place where I spend a lot of time, and currently I am not on vacation. I have some stuff to do, but anyway, nice place, Lake Balaton. Okay, what makes 2026 a bit special, or should I say complicated? Well, there is this war going on in Iran, and it's causing fuel shortages all over the world, including Vietnam. So Vietnam Airlines has announced that some flights might get cancelled and so on. Fuel prices are rising everywhere, including Europe, of course. But I think I will go into the details a bit later. But some people have already asked me, are you still planning to do this journey to Vietnam? Okay, but I decided yes, I will definitely do it. But let me explain a little bit more about the history of my Vietnam travel plans. So I got interested in this country maybe 15 years ago, and I would say it was 2018, 2019, where I decided I definitely should go and travel there sometime soon. And yeah, in 2019 I was quite sure, but then I decided, okay, let's wait for another year, save some money and so on. But that was obviously a mistake, because then came 2020, the pandemic, and of course it was no longer that easy to travel. Vietnam was completely closed for, I think, something like 2 years, at least for tourists, and even if you were a native, you had to undergo some quarantine of, I think, 3 weeks. And that is not at home, but in a special place, in a special quarantine place. So it was, for me, it was definitely impossible to travel there. In fact, I didn't leave Germany for about 1 year. I didn't even go to Hungary. I have to say that I have a house in Hungary. My wife is from Hungary, and we didn't leave Germany for 1 year because, well, people said it's not possible. The borders are closed. Only under special circumstances you are able to cross the border. And turned out later this wasn't even true. Actually, it was possible to cross all European borders, or most European borders, anytime. Nobody really cared, and that was certainly a mistake not to travel. And yeah, as far as Vietnam is concerned, it kept on going for 3 years. So 21, 22, 23. I think in 23 they reopened for tourism, and then I finally decided to go there in 2024, and that's what I did. My first travel to Vietnam was in 2024, February and March, 4 weeks, and yeah, I really liked the place. So it was even better than what I expected. Now, why is it that I like Vietnam so much? Well, it's an amazing culture, completely different from the West, but still has things in common. There are so many things to see. You got mountains, you got beaches, you got big cities, you got the countryside, and you got great food, great weather, except in the rainy season. And well, people are extremely friendly without being cringe, which is the case in some other countries. And last but not least, it's a country where you get really great value for the money. So the main cost factor is the flight, but then you can stay there for quite a long time without spending too much, and still have good quality of food, good accommodation, and so on. Infrastructure is not too bad. I mean, it's a little bit chaotic, but it works. And well, some overland bus or train travels are quite time consuming, but that's the way it is. So all in all, it is, for me at least, one of the best countries for traveling in the whole world. But now let's get back to the main topic. What about 2026? So Vietnam is importing most of its oil from China and Thailand. And these two countries have stopped all of their exports about 4 weeks ago. And this, of course, is an issue. Now, the interesting thing is that the government seems to handle this issue quite well. So they tried to find other sources for gas, and especially aviation fuel, kerosene, which is the biggest issue at the moment, I think. So they started negotiating with other countries, I think including India, Japan, Korea, South Korea that is. And it looks like they have been more or less successful. So yes, the airlines still say that flights might be cancelled or delayed, whatever. But it seems like the situation is not really that extremely bad. But of course, prices went up. I've already booked my international flights in January, so that's not an issue. I have booked another domestic flight from Da Nang to Saigon a week ago, and I think it's about 20-25% more expensive than last time. So this was, I think, 100 euros, almost 100 euros, and 2 years ago I got it for, I think, something like 70-75 euros. The thing that currently troubles me most is the motorbike trip that I've booked. So it's a trip with a driver, because I am not allowed to ride a bike myself in Vietnam. So you have to book a tour, and I'm a little bit afraid that there might be not enough gas at the gas station. So this is in the mountains. It's the so-called Hajiang Loop. And there is probably not the best infrastructure there. Also, it's already gotten quite touristy. Now, that's where there is a little bit of a question mark right now. But I think the Vietnamese will be able to handle it. So in the beginning of the crisis, in the beginning of March, there really were issues with gas stations not having enough gasoline. But I think right now the situation is under control. I mean, the prices have gone up by, I don't know, something like 40%. But that's still cheaper than what you pay in most European countries. Then, of course, there is the flight back from Saigon to Munich. And, of course, nobody knows how the situation will develop. So it might be cancelled. I might have to take another flight. I might have to stay some more days or nights in Saigon. But actually, there are definitely worse places to hang out than Saigon. The only issue is I will have to work again in the next week. But I think that's something that can be managed. All in all, I have a lot of trust that the Vietnamese government will handle this situation, this crisis, in a better way than most European governments. I mean, it's not really a democracy in a Western sense, so in Vietnam you can not vote for different parties. You only have the Communist Party, but still I think they understand that even when you are a communist one-party state, you have to take care of what the citizens want. And I have the impression that this is not so much the case in many European countries or Western countries in general. And especially my country, Germany, I have to say that it's kind of the drama queen of nations. So they talk a lot about all kinds of problems, even the problems that actually aren't problems, but they don't really act, at least not in a productive way that makes sense. But wait a minute, it actually is related, because this is also something I find quite refreshing, the contrast between Germany or Europe and Vietnam. So before my last trip, I was really fed up with what is happening in the West. So I also made an introductory video 2 years ago, and the title was I Need a Break from the West. And now, once again, I definitely need a break from the West. I actually forgot to mention one thing that makes me want to go back to Vietnam, even after only 2 years. I want to find out what has changed, to the better or maybe to the worse. Because it's a country with a very dynamic development. With each respect, economically, technically, the whole society is changing. And I am really curious whether I will notice a difference after these 2 years. So let me come to my main point. I think that most people always find reasons to delay travels. I mean, you can always find some kind of reason, like a pandemic, wars, the cost of traveling, whatever. And of course there are always you always need to organize such a travel with your family, with your workplace, with your colleagues, and so on. But the problem is, at some point you notice, okay, I am 80 years old and I am actually no longer really able to do this kind of traveling. You can maybe still hop on a cruise ship, but things like motorbike tours and so on will be difficult at that age. So at some point it's just too late. And most people, I think, sometimes get to this point. They always say, oh, maybe it's better next year, the year after, and then at some point it's too late. So that is my main point. And I hope that this will motivate you to not delay your planned travels, be it to Vietnam or some other favorite place. Just do it. As I said, my flight Munich to Hanoi will leave next Saturday, April 11th. I will spend 4 weeks in Vietnam, and of course I will try to vlog as much as possible. Planning to upload a video every 2 or 3 days, maybe, just like last time. And yeah, I'm going to spend a few days in Hanoi, then do the Ha Giang motorbike tour. Going to go to Ninh Binh, and then we will take a train to Da Nang. I will spend a few days in Da Nang, and for the rest of the journey, the final 2 weeks, I don't have planned everything. I might be going to the Mekong Delta. I will definitely spend a few days in Saigon, where I've already been last time. And yeah, let's see. So let's see if my plans are going to work out. And if you don't want to miss anything, you can just subscribe to my channel and watch my videos. So have a nice time. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.